Welcome to Start Somewhere, the podcast with Isabelle. I'm your host, Isabelle Prestia, and I'll be sharing my mind shifts and tools to turn your struggles into some of your best wins ever. We'll be chatting how you can fight fear, cultivate confidence, and become the most empowered person I know you are so deserving of. All by starting somewhere. Welcome back to another episode. So today is going to be a little bit different. First as well on the podcast, I am going to be interviewed myself by my good friend Charlotte.
Hello.
And this is a follow-up from my previous episode. I'm sure people may or may not have questions, who knows, but my friend Charlotte is just going to ask the questions that you may have, basically.
We're just going to be getting into the juicy details. I'm just here to ask all the questions people would be thinking.
Yes.
Want to know the answers to.
Yeah, and I feel like I love listening to the podcast Happy Hour, just two girls just chatting. I find it so just conversational.
Yeah.
So we're just keeping it fresh here, keeping it different. Not every episode of mine is going to be the same. So I hope you enjoy this one.
Do you have any questions planned as such? It's not a formal interview,
no,
more just like a girly chat that you would have with your girlfriends if something like this was to happen to them.
So get a snack, get a coffee.
Yep, it's going to be a wild ride. Okay, so I guess first up, what we should get stuck into before we get into...
By the way, guys, I have no idea what she's going to ask me.
Yeah, no, we haven't. We kind of maybe set a few boundaries, but not really as well.
Yeah, don't say this, don't say that.
Yeah. Respecting people's privacy is basically the only kind of thing. Anyway, let's dive into your relationship.
Okay.
Your past relationship, and I mean, what made it good? Why were you in that relationship? What kept you in that relationship for so long? Because it was how many years were you in that relationship for? 4 years. So something was in that to be able to be in a relationship for 4 years. Do you know what I mean?
The truth?
Yeah.
Honestly, fear of leaving.
That's crazy.
I touched on this in previous episodes. I felt those feelings and I just pushed them down, and I was scared. I was scared to leave him and leave. We had a group of friends together, and for
so intertwined.
Yeah, and for not so many years, but a lot of the time I was battling, do I, follow that feeling I have and lose him plus 12 people, or just
put up with it,
jeopardize my happiness? And
that's so crazy. But I guess if we were going to kind of focus
on the
good for a little bit, just to kind of get, so people can get a snapshot maybe into what your relationship would look like on a day-to-day, what were some of the things that made you really happy in that relationship that would kind of keep you going a bit?
It was great. He did treat me honestly like a queen. Yeah, treated me with respect. Sounds kind of funny saying that, but always
in the time.
In the time, it made me feel like I was on top of the world. Was a really, really caring person. Always put my needs. Always was aware of how I was feeling and did his best to make sure I felt comfortable and okay. And my biggest supporter as well. That was one thing that I'll always kind of, hold on to. Remember, he was a huge supporter for me, and everything I do, all kind of my creative endeavors and just life. I was with him from uni to leaving uni to getting a job. Those are such big transitions, and he was just always my number one. So
yeah, that's pretty cool to find in a person.
Yeah.
And even for a guy, I find at kind of a young age to be so in touch with maybe how you're feeling and be able to treat you accordingly is
and we were best friends that's I think that's why
were you guys friends before you got together?
A little bit, for a few months, but maybe 4 or 5 months, but we were just honestly the bestest of friends, and I think that's why we both kept going as well, because we were just best friends basically.
Cool. It just worked.
Yeah,
cool. All right, so that was when everything was all happy, and maybe you started to kind of get these inklings, I guess, that something wasn't quite right, or you weren't fully fulfilled in that relationship. What were the first sort of, I guess, thoughts maybe you remember, or something that happened that made you kind of feel oh, is this right? Or made you question something? Like, can you pinpoint a time when you started to get those inklings, or what made you feel like that, or how it looked? Like, what were you thinking to yourself?
I guess it was just when let me think here. When we weren't, out with our friends or out and about, socialising, whatever it is, more so when I was by myself, when I would come home after spending time with him, is when I would kind of have these thoughts. But then whenever I was around him, they would go away.
Oh, okay, so interesting.
And that was like early on, that when I was a little bit younger, and I guess I didn't realise what it was.
You didn't know any different?
Yeah, because I was younger. I was quite immature, like when I was, 18, 19. And yeah, they just kind of kept building and getting stronger and stronger as I got older.
Yeah, right. So you would like spend time with him, feel like all good and happy and have a really nice time, and then you'd come home and you like wouldn't feel quite right, or something felt a bit
not all the time, but
sometimes.
You get late at night, like in your feels, and does that kind of answer your question? I feel like?
Yeah, so like something just didn't feel quite right,
but I didn't know anything.
You couldn't pinpoint it.
No.
Or like you couldn't put your finger on it. He's doing this, that's upsetting me.
Yeah.
So,
or even when I eventually did pinpoint it, that's when I started to become fearful. So I guess the first I'll break it up like chapters. Like the first chapter, it was happening, like these feelings were happening, and I just didn't really understand them. And I guess the second chapter, I understood them, and I was like, no, I'm scared.
And then you shut them down.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily shut them down.
But you did it.
I just focused on other stuff. I was like, I'm just going to do this and do that instead, and I just kind of pretended it didn't exist.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, like, what were those main things that kind of brought up those feelings? Like, oh God,
the main feelings.
Well, yeah, the main aspects of your relationship that kind of made you feel like this isn't right for me.
I had to keep kind of explaining the same things that were upsetting me, and they just
weren't getting through.
And I know everyone's not the same, but like me personally, I feel one of my strong points is I'm quite good at putting myself in people's shoes and really understanding their perspective.
Yeah.
And like he just couldn't really do that. And it really frustrated me because
I feel like that's a boy thing a bit as well. Like to a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, like I feel like boys naturally aren't as in touch with their emotions.
Yeah,
but
we were saying this the other day, weren't we?
Yeah, but there still is like a point where it's just kind of selfish.
Yeah.
If you can't just kind of have any comprehension.
Yeah. Very close-minded. I am such an open-minded thinker, and that was kind of a clash between us as well, kind of.
Yeah,
okay. Not a clash, but that was a huge difference.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just need someone with an open mind as well, who I can just thrive and
like kind of the way you looked at life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think your values were clashing? Do you think that's
Oh my God, our values were completely opposite.
So that was
that we grew apart with our values, yeah.
Okay, so you think, from an outsider, I was probably I was kind of involved or friends with the both of you when you were together for like a year or so.
Yeah. Roughly.
So I guess as an outsider, this was my perspective.
Yeah, true, it is.
I felt like Belle was trying to like really grow and become this person and kind of come into her power. Not that you're...
to say he.
Not that he was stopping you, but he wasn't on
my level.
He wasn't on your level.
He wasn't on my vibration.
Yeah, no,
which is totally
literally though, like that's a thing. Like, so I think
it's all about finding people on the same frequency.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you say values, because I think you
thing.
can work through a lot of things in a relationship. Like, oh, I want you to do more of this and more of this, and they're all kind of superficial things you can talk through. But I think when it comes to clashing values,
that's like the crux of you. That's like that. Like when you find friendships, you look for people with similar values.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily lifestyle. Like we both want, like job wise, I've always wanted to be like an entrepreneur, work for myself, have multiple businesses, and he was just the classic kind of 9-to-5er, which is totally fine. And like that shouldn't be a difference, because that's like a lifestyle thing. But then in terms of values, like coming down to the core of the person, that's where the kind of differences were. Yeah. And
he didn't have that, like, I guess, open mind to what you could do.
We just didn't really, Yeah, kind of, yeah. But then yet again, like, that's why I was so torn, because he was so supportive and because he was my best friend.
Yeah, so that is so hard.
And that's why it
so
sucks,
tricky.
because I lost a best friend and a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it was so shit, basically.
Yeah. No, that's a real tricky one, because I think if you were in a relationship, I mean, obviously any breakup is like horrible and hard, but if someone was not supportive of your values and they're not on the same page as your values,
and then not being able to like he was supportive, but I don't want to say he wasn't supportive, but then it was.
No, that's the thing. He was so supportive, but he just didn't see them himself.
Yeah. Again, like, it was being able to be in someone else's shoes, like that. That's where it got to.
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds so complicated. Kind of. Actually, not really. I don't know. I've never really thought about it that intensely.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting, and I feel like I'm only getting into this because I can imagine, like, maybe people were out there thinking the exact same things you were.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, want some perspective on the issue. And like, I don't want this to come across like, if you're feeling this, you shouldn't be in a relationship. Like, every relationship is so incredibly different. And I wholeheartily believe anyone can work through any aspect of their relationship if they're both willing to work on it.
50%, you both need to work, you both need to be willing.
Yeah, but I guess this is just your experience in your relationship.
Yeah.
Cool.
And, yeah, I guess, like, you know, the whole purpose of this podcast is for people to, you know, to be honest, I'm a very truthful person. I just want people to realize these truths sooner rather than later, because I realize them and then push them aside and focus on other stuff, like other bullshit, basically, like my actual important stuff, and then a tower moment happened and it was like, boom. So if you can pick up these things straight away and be like, have that like self-respect and confidence to like conquer them straight on, it's gonna be so much better. You're gonna dodge a bullet. I feel like I'm the best at dodging bullets now. Like,
Oh, see ya.
Like, just no time for that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So we've kind of gone into your relationship, then how you were feeling. So then
The juicy stuff.
Then we're getting to kind of the final few months of your relationship, and you moved in with him. What was going through your mind when you made that decision?
Because
I felt like it was, from an outsider, it felt not right.
It's so funny because when I called my other friends to tell them the news, like Vic, I think even Jess, their reaction, they were just like, what? I was like, why the fuck aren't you supporting me right now? Yeah, they were just like, no, like, I'm just confused. And I'm like, you know what? My whole mindset of that whole situation was I had to give it one last shot. I had to try.
You had to know.
Yeah, and I think I touched on this in a previous episode. I said, like, there's no point living with regret. And I was, you know, on the brink of leaving regardless, but I was like, I just need to try it one more time because this could
be the answer.
I'm not saying that that's the, like, that I should, I mean, like, I don't want to say that should be the answer, but maybe that was just what we needed because we were together for 4 years since we were 18. We both wanted to grow up and, you know, but I feel like we're on the same pages.
It's exciting.
Exactly. Like, for myself, I just needed to get out of home. I needed to just kind of change something in my life. And I feel like we were on the same page, but different books.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, so moved out with him. How was
that? Was this time last year. Like,
really?
This exact time.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Okay, so you moved out with him. What was, like, the first, like, week?
Oh my God, I was so
living
depressed.
With him? Really?
I was
so it wasn't, like, fun and exciting?
No. I was in such, not even a funk. I was just so down for, like, the whole time I was there. Like, really? 4 or 5 weeks.
Did he pick up on that?
Yes, but we were just so separate. But then we'd go to bed together every night. It was very weird. We were just living very separate lives. He worked heaps, so he was always at work, like weekends as well, like Saturday, Sunday. And I was just in this house, and I was so miserable. Like, I hadn't been outside in ages. It was so shit. I don't know how to stay there. Like, yeah, it sucked.
That's so interesting.
I know.
Because I guess moving out of home for the first time, like, is meant to be, like, you know, this
exciting.
And you probably put that pressure on yourself as well.
Did.
Like,
yeah.
why aren't I feeling like I should?
Yeah, I was.
Sort of
I was
thing.
questioning, because I questioned everything basically. I was like, why aren't I happy? And I was like, you know, I have a good job. I have good friends. Like, I was happy with myself, but in my situation, and I actually have a YouTube video up as well. Like, I felt like I was picked up and placed in a moment of my life I wasn't yet ready to experience. Like, I was just picked up and like thrown like 5 years ahead in life, and I was just like, is this life? Is this it? And yeah, it was awful. It was honestly awful.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So how long did that go on for?
The whole time I was there.
So how long was that?
Oh, I think it was 5 weeks, a month and a bit.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was longer for some reason.
No, 5 weeks.
Okay, cool. So it was just a little holiday, really?
That's what I told you. It was a little homestay.
Homestay. Yeah, nice. A bit of an exchange.
Yeah, it was a bit of an excursion that really tried to shake me up.
Rattle to your core.
Literally.
You're living with him, all good and well. Not really, but you're having these feelings, but you're just kind of going through the motions. This girl came along into your lives. Is that right?
No, she'd been around for a while.
She'd been around for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she'd been around since day
And
one.
you'd always kind of known her
Yeah.
as a friend?
Yeah.
So you'd like go out with her and stuff? Or
I mean, not all the time, but you know, we run into her in town, and it was that kind of friendship. It wasn't like, you know, best mate. They were like best
But
friends.
like if you saw her on the street, you'd say hi.
I mean,
sort of
yeah,
thing.
she, you know, she would Snapchat me in a reg, DM me, like,
Interesting.
BFF.
And then you first had a kind of thought about this when a friend got worried about her? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, so a friend got worried about her, not her with my partner, but with her partner.
Her own partner.
And I was like, no, like,
Don't be
she's,
silly.
yeah, I was like, she's totally fine. And I even asked my partner, I was like, you know, tell her, like, this girl's fine. And he's like, she's harmless.
Had he cheated with her at that point?
Yeah.
He said she's harmless.
That was a week before.
Well, maybe she is harmless, maybe it's him, but it takes two to tango. Right, so
that's kind of funny.
So even when your friend kind of brought up this concern with you, that didn't like trigger any thoughts?
No,
you trusted him so like wholeheartedly.
I mean, you're in a relationship, you're supposed to trust the fucking person.
So, living with him, not happy. This girl's kind of in the picture. Wouldn't question it for a sec.
No.
Just one of the boys.
Yeah, one of the boys.
Yeah. First of all, it came to an end.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Okay,
so
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So,
right. What kind of triggered that? How did that look like?
Just everything. Yet again, going back to the values. You know, I guess without diving into it too heavily, I always wanted to travel. And that was always my thing, and he wasn't so much of a traveller, like, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, yet again, kind of values, whatever, not really working. And I just wanted to go away so badly, and then he just kind of booked a holiday with his sister and wouldn't go away with me. And it just turned into such a thing, and I was like, bro, like, fucking travel with your girlfriend. Like, she wants to travel so badly. Anyway,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, really. And he just, yet again, he just didn't really see the issue. So I would try so hard not to bring it up, even though it was just, you know, eating me alive. And then it caused so many things because it turned into real personal things. And he was like, I can't travel with my sister. Like, it's making it kind of about that. And I was like, it's not about that. Like, it's about us together. Anyway, I don't want to get into it too much, but that's just kind of the general kind of
So
context.
that was kind of a real value for you.
Yeah.
You were like, this is not okay.
Exactly. And I was at the house and I was just so unhappy. And I was just like... I didn't plan on doing it then. It just happened. I was getting ready to leave. I was going home for like a family dinner. And I'm like, I'm going home. I'll be back later. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, tell me you can't give me what I want. And then he's just like, I can't give you what I want. Like,
you both came to a consensus?
We did. It was a very mutual breakup. And this was before I found out he was cheating. So it was so mutual. And I just needed to hear his words saying that he couldn't give me what I needed. Like, I needed to hear that. I needed to know that I tried, that I wasn't going crazy, that I wasn't being selfish.
Yeah.
He said those words and I was like, it's kind of like a relief in a weird way. I was like, okay, this fucking sucks, but at least I know.
Yeah.
And it was a super mutual breakup.
And you had like some sort of validation as well.
Exactly.
That's your feeling made sense and that would have been really nice.
Yeah, in a weird way. But yeah, like I said, super mutual, super mature. I was like, holy shit, maybe we can actually be friends after this. Like, it was weird. Like, people who know us personally, our relationship was just very different and you know, it was very special at a time and I did know it was special, like it was unique. And I was like, maybe we can be friends. We kept joking, we're like, maybe we'll be like Jeremy Lane of Seinfeld. Like, that's what I honestly thought it was going to be like.
So you guys were still like happy chappy sort of thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was only 2-3 days after the breakup.
Yeah, cool. All right, so you guys had a chat.
Yeah, went home,
It was
came
all
back,
happy.
it was all good.
Yeah, and you guys just decided that you were going to move out the next weekend. So then, were you feeling better?
Yes.
So were you instantly feeling happier knowing you were getting out of that situation?
Relieved. Yeah. I felt like the biggest weight had just been lifted off my shoulders, and yeah, that's when I started to get, I guess, like a bit spiritual as well, and things started popping up and more, like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but just things were just happening more and I could see more clearly and I could just kind of see the path I was going to head down.
Isn't that funny? Because to me as an outsider, it's almost like you had finally listened to your intuition that you had been like pushing down for so long, that all these doors just opened up for you and you could finally see like what you wanted, what you needed. Like that's pretty interesting.
I know, I remember like on the day, like the next day after, like I remember I received like 3 pieces of good news and it was just so weird and it was just such a surreal thing. I was like, yeah, this is for a reason.
Yeah. And that would have been nice as well because you would have, I mean, naturally in that situation, anyone's going to kind of question if you made the right decision and those thoughts are going to go through anyone's head.
Yeah.
So I guess it would have been nice to have
I was very confident
those signs from the universe that
all about those signs.
You were doing the right thing, you were on track. Like 3 days or something, you guys were just kind of living together.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, but
how was that dynamic? Like, did you guys set any boundaries in place?
No, not really. We didn't.
No, but it was just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah. It was weird, but I was like, this isn't going to last for long. And yet again, like we were just like we're friends, and it was a weird time. But it was only for 2-3 days.
Yeah,
not long.
Did you spend a lot of time at the house, or were you kind of?
No, because it was during the week, so we're working, and I think maybe at nights I was, seeing friends because I just want to sit and
get out. Then it was like Wednesday.
Wednesday rolls around.
Wednesday rolls around. You're at work. You're driving home from work. How did you feel driving home from work? Just normal?
Yeah, like kind of, obviously it was still very weird feelings and, spoken to most of my close best friends and there was one left to tell and she knew what was going on, but she didn't know we broke up yet. So I was like, okay, I better tell her.
Oh, so you hadn't even told her that you broke
up? No,
yet?
I hadn't told we hadn't told anyone.
You were kind of just keeping it on the down low until you were out and
I was just
you were processing it on your own.
Yeah, I was just telling people when I saw them, I wasn't like, group chat, hey guys, guess what? Just didn't want to make it a thing.
Yeah.
Here I am making it a thing.
Yeah. A big fucking thing. Alright, cool. So you're driving home. Did you, like looking back now, did you kind of have any inklings?
No.
You had no inklings at all?
No.
Okay,
because if you knew him personally, he was so vocal and strong about respecting women. That was his biggest thing. All of his mates, in general, in life, despised cheating.
And told you on a previous occasion, like how, like his opinion on cheating, like
yeah, definitely. And so I was like, did not even cross my mind for a millisecond that he would do that.
Yeah. Were you thinking of calling your friend?
Yeah, in the day I was like, yeah, I'll call you tonight, I have something to tell you. I was driving home from work and I was like, oh, I can't be bothered talking right now. But I'm like, no, I told her I'd call her, I better do it. And
so you called her?
Yeah, I remember I was hesitating for so long and I was like, no.
Isn't that funny that you were hesitating to call her?
Because I'm like, I just don't want to talk about it. I just want to listen to music. I just want to get my mind off it. But I was like, I told her, I'm just going to follow, stick with my word.
So you told her first? Or did she say, I have something to tell you, and then you told her?
Kind of a bit of both. But she didn't make it sus. She was just like, oh, like we'll go out for breakfast on the weekend. Like I'll buy you breakfast. Like overly nice. And I was just like, what?
It's not my birthday.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And I was gonna wait to tell her when I saw her, but it was a Wednesday, and I'm like, nah. Like I want to tell her before the weekend. Yeah. So you just started telling her. Yeah.
What was her reaction like?
She was shocked and quiet. Obviously she knew that's what I wanted, so she was like, that's amazing, Isabelle, because I was telling her how free I felt. And then she's like, I have something to tell you too. And then I just knew.
You knew.
I just knew.
Did your heart like drop to the center of the earth?
I had never been so sure of what she was about to say, and I never felt my heart just like drop to like the bottom of the world.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's funny because you, like, 5 minutes prior, you would have never in a million years thought anything of the sort, and as soon as she was like about to tell you, you knew. Yeah, okay, so then what were her words?
She's like, Isabelle, I've heard through the grapevine, insert name,
Yeah.
has been cheating on you. I just knew it was true. I just knew, and I can't explain it. And I just remember I couldn't like talk. I was just like, no, like I just kept saying no. I'm like, that's not true. Because she wasn't certain. She was like, I've heard. She's like, this isn't 100%. That's why I was going to wait till the weekend. I was going to find out more, but I need to tell you this regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to tell you this regardless. And I still get triggered. I'm like the road she told me on. I still get triggered
by that road. Really?
Yeah, Fullerton Road.
Oh, really?
Fucking hate that road. And before she
driving and just start like convulsing.
And before she told me, like we joke about this now, but I was like, before she said the words, I was like, she's like, I have something to tell you, and I was like, holy fuck. I was like, do I need to pull over? I'm in peak hour traffic. She's like, no, you don't need to pull over, and I was like, do I need to pull over? She's like, no. And she told me, and I was like,
I need to pull over.
We laugh now. I just didn't know how to respond. I was like, how do you kind of take that information?
Your body would have just gone into shock.
Yeah, as I'm stuck in peak hour traffic on Fullerton Road.
Yeah, no, like, what do you do? Like, you're with a guy for that many years, you trust him wholeheartedly, you're finally kind of on good terms, everything's sorted.
Yeah, I was like,
and then you hear that bombshell, like, I don't think the human mind is made to comprehend that shit. Like, I don't think we've evolved quick enough to comprehend emotions like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that quickly anyways. So, you would have definitely just been in a state of shock. That's some, like, serious notebook shit right there. Like,
it was like,
you were, like, in
and
the rain.
I was like, as soon as he left, that's when I broke. I remember I just like, but like I hadn't cried the whole way home. I wasn't crying in the moment. That's when I just broke. And I remember, honestly, it was like a movie. I called mum, I called dad, my brother and sister. No one was picking up their phones. I had no one else to call. Like I'd already, spoken to like a few of my friends. I wasn't prepared to call another friend and tell them the whole thing because I only told like a couple of my close girlfriends that we actually broke up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when it hit me and I was just like, I don't know, I just had adrenaline in me and I was just like, I need to get out of here. I was like, this place is like haunted, I need to get out. And then eventually I got through to my parents, one of my other best friends, and she didn't even know that we broke up yet. And I was like, okay. I'm like, are you home? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay, listen to me. We broke up 2 days ago. I just found out he's cheating on me. I need you to come here right now, help me get on my stuff, and then go home. And she's like, okay. I'll be here soon. So, yeah, I had a little committee helping me get my... Because I had furniture there. Like, I had all my shit there. I had everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we packed up the cars and drove home in the fucking rain. It was intense.
How was that experience? Like, were you crying? Were you just
not
going for it?
To be honest, I wasn't crying that much.
Yeah.
Like, I was when it first happened, but then I just had to get out, and it was late, and it was like work night. Like I just had to
get it done.
Yeah, I just had to keep going.
Did you drive home with someone, or were you both?
Yeah, my friend. I was in the car with her.
So what was that drive like? Were you talking about it, or were you just kind of silence, or like...
Yeah, no, we were talking about it, and it's funny because he had been out with like my partner had been out with his friend for dinner, and it was almost midnight by now, and he still wasn't at the house when we left. So I was like, oh, like, I remember saying this to her. I was like, oh, like, I feel kind of bad. He doesn't know when to go home. Like, should I tell him that I've left? And she's like, what the fuck? She's like, why are you saying that? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, you are caring about him right now. Like, you are actually not concerned, but yeah, like
you're considering him.
Yeah. And she's like, that's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know why. I just...
So ingrained in you, like...
Yeah.
That's what you've been doing for the past 4 years. Like...
Yeah.
How are you meant to just let go of that
that's
so
quickly?
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's super crazy. So then I guess you just like got home, went to bed...
And woke up and went to work the next day.
You just like went to work like nothing had happened?
I mean, yeah, like the drive there was pretty awful.
Did you have to go on Fullerton Road again?
No, I remember driving to work and I had to call my friend. I was like, oh my god, like get my mind off this, like, because it was traumatizing, like to an extent.
No, that's a trauma.
Yeah,
100%.
it was, and I just, I was just driving there, like I had to keep my mind busy, and I was like, just tell me something, like keep my mind off things, like I can't, I've got mascara on, I can't cry, like I need to go to work, and it it was pretty rough. It was very rough.
So did you just kind of keep going to work as normal, or did you take some days off?
Yeah, like I got to work, and because we're a very close team, so they kind of knew something was up. They're like, how's your night? And I was like, oh, my night. I'm not going to say it was good because it wasn't.
The night of all nights.
And I just like told them briefly, and they were just like speechless.
What do you say though?
Because they thought we were like gonna get married, because we moved in together. They're like, oh, like Isabelle, partner, they're perfect. They were just like, what? Yeah. So, but they were amazing support. My people at work, my bosses.
That's so good.
That was so good. And then it started to kind of show my work performance. I was like, wasn't performing as well because my mind was elsewhere. Like I was just like a frantic mess, kind of like.
Yeah.
And so like, do you want to take a couple of days off from work, yada yada. So I did that, and that definitely helped. But
so what were like those first few days, like when you were just sitting with your thoughts?
I wasn't. I kept busy.
You just were busy.
I was just
catching up with people.
Yeah. That's what I was doing. And I was back home, so I was fixing up my room, and I was just constantly
just doing
busy.
stuff.
Yeah, going to the gym. Like I just did not let myself feel.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember sort of when you did start to just process what had happened, or do you think it was just such a long process you can't pinpoint a time where you were like, okay, you need to sit down and process this now?
A bit of both, I think. I just put my mind, body and soul into everywhere else but processing that. But then I think, like I honestly think for me meditating helped me kind of process it internally. If that makes sense.
So were you meditating a lot?
Yeah, so I actually learnt meditation like a month before I found out all this
Thank the
other
Lord.
stuff. Yeah, otherwise I reckon it would have been like crazy. Like I just would not have handled it properly, I reckon.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
Yeah, I so can see how it would have
just being able to like control your thoughts.
Yeah.
And, like be aware of them.
Yeah. But to be honest, I probably didn't really process everything until like COVID, until that happened, because we were forced to kind of do nothing, and that's
really
what hit me. Yeah.
So
only
at
properly.
the start of this year, like March. So did all the feels kind of like come back up?
A little bit. It wasn't like straight away, but just little things were triggering, and he was kind of popping
what
up
sort
more.
of things would trigger you?
Just realizing what had happened. And this is gonna sound weird, but the thing that triggers me, like that made me upset, was I would look back on the past like 6 months and be like, what? Like what the fuck happened? Yeah. Why was I so okay? And the fact that I was so okay got me sad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you were like, I should have been sad. That was such a sad thing.
Yeah, and I'm just like, and it makes me sad to think that happened to me. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it's like, no, I kind of get that. Like you were almost like feeling sad. You were almost like an outsider looking at yourself as a friend, feeling so sad that something horrible would happen to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, right. Okay. So do you feel like you're at a stage now where you can fully say you have like processed it and moved on, in a box, just part of your past, and it's like it doesn't bother you at all?
I don't know if we ever properly move on, but I think the best I can at this point in time.
Yeah. The rest is just time, you feel like?
Yeah, and I remember saying like I want to be single for like at least a year, and the year's coming up. I think what's the day? I don't remember. Sometime in October. Yeah. And I'm just so keen to get to then, because then it'll be a whole year, and I can be like, whew,
you made it through.
You did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, and I think even like from an outsider's perspective, again, I remember after you broke up, like you kind of turned it into such a positive experience from the outside, it looks like whether you were feeling what you're feeling on the inside, it was just like, wow, Bella's killing it now that she doesn't have a life. Like that's what it looks like from an outsider.
No, it did feel like that as well. Like I wasn't faking any of that kind of stuff.
And that's like, hats off to you that you could do that, because it would have been so easy to like all up in a ball and just like, woe is me sort of thing. Yeah, I guess you had a decision to make whether you wanted to feel like that or whether you wanted to move forward.
Exactly, and here we are.
Okay, so this is the burning question I am sure you're all thinking. This girl that was the culprit behind the incident,
Sure.
did you confront her?
hell yes.
And how did you do that? What was it like?
It's pretty funny. So because, you know, we Snapchat, we Instagram, whatever, like I don't think I use Snapchat because of this now. Like I don't even open the app anymore. But, you know, like Snap Streaks, is that still a thing? We Snap
I don't think so. I don't use Snapchat anymore.
Anyway, yeah, so, you know, there was a Snap Streak between us because I'd receive snaps from her like literally 5 a day.
Yeah.
And I just replied to one of her many. And I was just like, hey, thanks for sleeping with my boyfriend. And then she replies, I'm so sorry, it only happened once. And I just screenshot it and deleted the app. And the rest is history.
Have you ever had any contact with her since? Like, have you ever run into her?
No, I'm surprised because of Adelaide. But
Adelaide's so
I know
tiny.
people have, like my friend who told me that this happened, she has kind of a closer tie than I do with this girl and her friends. She almost did, but then the chick didn't go to the event.
Oh my god.
And my friend, she's like honestly more mad about the situation than me. It's so funny.
Yeah.
She gets way more fired up, way more sad.
That's
I'm
classic.
just like,
yeah.
dude, like it's old, it's fine, don't worry about it. She's like, why am I more mad than you? So I need that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I feel like we've covered most of the juicy details. Do you reckon?
No, I think so as well.
And yeah, I guess good on you for getting where you are and keep doing what you're doing, girlfriend, because you're doing it.
Aw, thanks. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed this and you want to see more, follow our journey on startsomewhere.podcast on Instagram. I'm Isabelle and I look forward to chatting with you in our next episode. Have a sweet day.